Fresh meat.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
This is my boomstick.
Swallow this.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Air on the Head Show. I am Lance, and of course, as always, my co-host, the Air himself, Mr. John Fallon. John, my friend, how you doing?
To be honest, I've seen better days. I'm a bit sick.
So what's this? A tearful goodbye, huh?
So I'm hoping that this, you see, that's how sick I am. Vodka and Red Bull, inspired by one of our viewers, Lennox. So thanks for the idea, bro. Will help me feel better and go through this before I go to bed and rest. So I apologize, people, in advance if I cough 24/7. What you drinking, man?
I didn't know you're sick. I was going to say what you're drinking. You should be drinking a hot toddy or something, man. Come on,
I did that yesterday.
A little whiskey and tea. All right.
It
So
kind of backfired but that's a long story.
You're fine. So what are you drinking? Vodka?
Yeah, it's
Vodka and Red Bull.
Vodka and sugar-free Red Bull, of course.
Yeah, well, you want to keep your teeth and look pretty.
The figure.
Yeah.
Tito's handmade vodka. I gotta say, it's Tito. Good job, really.
Tito, sponsor us. Anything you can, free
sponsor
liquor.
us, man. Bring that money down. Or just cases of vodka. What you drinking?
Yeah. So I got a little bit left of a brown sugar by Lagunitas. It's a little place that I think it's in California. They have a place in Chicago. And also I got my own honey mead. It's around the time it's ready. So I made it myself and I'm going to drink it as we talk.
Nice. That's awesome. Congrats, man.
All right. So today is Wes Craven, John.
Yes. The great late Wes Craven. It was funny, not funny, funny, when I premiered my directorial debut, The Shelter, with Michael Pare in 2015. It played at Fright Fest in London. And it was one of the highlights, of my life, to premiere on the first feature that I direct. And after that, we went to party and everything like that. And of course, it's Fright Fest. It's all horror fans. So I'm dancing, white boy dancing. You sexy thing. Suddenly, this girl comes up to me and she got the news on her phone. Wes Craven just died, and I'm like, what? So I check on my phone, and then it went around the entire party, and the entire party went, wow, that sucks for like the horror community. That really sucks. Like we lost a legend. So it kind of soured the night because, for me personally, Wes Craven is responsible for a lot of my favorite horror movies, if not one of my favorite of all time, which is Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, 1984. I think we should take on more obscure Craven movies, but Nightmare on Elm Street original, what's your thoughts?
It's a masterpiece. Simple as that. Robert Englund stole the show, even though he's only in it for, I think what they say, like 4 to 6 minutes. Cool practical effects. Yeah. I think it's very steady directing. It's not overly flashy, but I also think that works in favor because it's not a stylized movie. It's actually very grounded in terms of how it's filmed and stuff. Lincoln Camp is one of my favorite final girls. The look, it's dark. Cool kills. The upside down room kill, I thought was really
Rod.
Rod.
Yeah.
He killed
the
whole thing. It's a classic for a reason. I always want to tell people, I know people are younger because this happened to me when I was a kid, where a classic was something you heard about and you never saw because it's just, I always tell people, I know everybody hates the Beatles. That's a kid because you hear about the Beatles, but if you actually give it a chance, you'll like it and find something good in it. I look at that like Nightmare on Elm Street. I know that everybody talks about how well it is made and how good of a director Wes Craven is and how cool of a movie it is. And that's because it's all those things. As simple as that.
Yeah,
you can't.
I agree. You kind of said it all, For me, it was the first horror movie I ever saw was The Evil Dead, Raimi's original, and it scared the bejesus out of me. And the second horror movie that really marked me was Nightmare on Elm Street. It was the movie my parents wouldn't let me watch. So of course I wound up finding a way to watch it when my aunt babysat me and she put it on and I didn't sleep all night. I was scared. So many iconic scenes, the tongue, the phone, the bathtub scene. Again, Charles Bernstein's score, doom, 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 doom. Is fantastic. It's one of my favorite, even the ending, out the little window Mommy goes out in the little window, you know?
That was a reshoot, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it was an add-on.
But it works better because it lets you know
Yeah.
he's still around. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's funny. It's funny that we start. Well, not funny. It's rational. I'm fucking stupid. It's ironic that we start with Nightmare on Elm Street, as we should really, in terms of Wes Craven, even though he did movies before, like Last House on the Left. But because it's his movie that really kind of haunted him when he started doing other movies, where everybody wanted him to do Nightmare on Elm Street. Which brings me, I want to talk about Deadly Friend.
John, I got to be honest with you. I've actually never seen Deadly Friend. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. I know about the one scene with the basketball. That's it. So,
What the fuck are you talking about?
I've never seen it. I know about the one scene with the basketball. That's it.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
So I guess we're looking for a new host, people. So you could send your audition.
I'm out of a job, huh?
I'm just kidding. Shame on you.
Yeah,
I've seen Deadly Friend, man.
Fuck, dude, that's a weird thing about life. It's like, what was at the video store, what worked, what didn't, what fucking was there. It just never came up. I don't even know if I recognize the cover, and that means it wasn't around.
Really? Her face, the hand, the robot stuff in the hand.
Yeah, man, it wasn't at family video, or at least not enough for me to see it.
Well, Deadly Friend, for me, has a really special meaning because it was my first real movie crush, which was Christy Swanson.
Oh, Buffy, yeah.
Yeah, Buffy. You know her as Buffy.
Well, I'm older. I'm old. I mean, I'm younger, man. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Well, it's funny
Old
because
man.
it goes back to what I was saying before. After Elm Street, that movie kind of haunted Wes Craven, and everybody wanted him to redo Elm Street. With Deadly Friend, if memory serves me right, he was inspired by Carpenter's success with Starman, an E.T. love story. And Deadly Friend, which is inspired, what was her name? Diane Histel, an adaptation of her book Friends, which I read, which is fantastic book, by the way, guys. It is pretty much the Frankenstein monster, but, you know, with layered characters. It was supposed to be a PG movie. The guy, Bruce Joel Rubin, wrote the screenplay. He's the guy that wrote Ghost and Jacob's Ladder. And Warner Brothers took the movie on and let's go. But then, as they progressed, the president of Warner Brothers at the time, Mark Tappan, wanted more Elm Street, wanted gore, wanted dream sequences, and was also responsible for one, if you haven't seen the movie, so I'm not going to spoil it for you, but one of the worst tacked on ending ever created, in my opinion, in the horror genre. Because I would have loved to have seen Wes Craven's Starman, if you will, you know, what he could have done with that. But instead, it's the movie, the final product, which is a fascinating film because it's obviously schizophrenic, is you could see Craven trying to make his movie, and you could also see the studio coming in and, like I said, tossing in really extreme gore, the basketball kill, which everybody knows, dream sequences that are like Nightmare on Elm Street from Nightmare on Elm Street movies, which had no business in there. But for me, there's a nostalgia factor. And even though the dialogue was on and off, you have a lot of, outside of Chrissy Swanson and Matthew Laborto, he was the guy from Little House on the Prairie, I think, and he plays like the mad scientist, quote unquote mad. Other than them, who had like fleshed out and appealing characters, and BB the robot, which is really like an ET kind of thing. You'll see. Everybody else is a stock character waiting to be whacked, you know, by Christy Swanson. And yeah. So it's one of those classic cases of studios
Meddling.
Yeah, meddling, and they just wanted, Wes Craven wanted to do, like, you know, John Carpenter did Halloween, then he did The Thing. You know, he was somehow able to always do a different type of horror movie. But with Wes Craven, after Nightmare on Elm Street, it seemed everybody wanted him to do Elm Street, even if he wasn't doing Elm Street.
Clearly, he's done so many interesting movies, but he'll always be Freddy Krueger. You know, that's all people want. Yeah.
Well, at least, you know.
He created an icon.
Yeah. Like Dracula, like Frankenstein, like the Wolfman, he created an icon. That's something to be really proud of. If I just achieve that in my lifetime, I'm good to go. All right, send me to the grave. Done. But for me, it's a movie that means something to me. I grew up with it, nostalgia, and read the book. It's a really good book.
Friend, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that brings me to my entry. I'm going for the 1988, what I think is a classic, but it's something that I didn't really grow up on, was The Serpent and the Rainbow, with the always amazing fucking Bill Pullman.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Huh?
Yeah, great film.
President of the United States, yeah. I wrote this down on my little notepad here. There was a documentary back in 2002. I had it on a VHS tape. I taped it off of Sci-Fi, when Sci-Fi spelled its name correctly before it was a SY shit. There was a documentary called The Masters of Horror. The host was Bruce Campbell, a young, handsome Bruce Campbell, and it had Wes Craven, Toby Hooper, it had Guillermo del Toro, it had John Landis, it had everybody. But Wes Craven talked about his experience making this movie. And the reason I bring this up is because I never saw it before then. So I didn't see this until my, senior year of high school, which to me is late because I saw everything when I was a child because the 80s were a different time. The writer of the movie, it's Richard Maxwell, was talking to the guy that wrote the book that was based in this movie and was drugged and had this crazy, trippy experience. And I remember that Wes Craven told the story and it was so poetic. He was such a good storyteller, just on a documentary that I was like, okay, you got Bill Pullman, and you got this crazy true story about the writer basically tripping balls and ending up in the forest in Haiti. So I went and I rented the movie, and I remember the cover. It has Bill Pullman on the front.
Yeah, I think it's the tagline, but it was in the trailer. Don't bury me. I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. Yeah, it's on the cover. I've always, since I saw it, I've absolutely loved this movie. I'm not saying it's not flawed. We'll talk about that in a second. But something about Serpent the Rainbow is such an interesting departure for me, for Craven, because this is like you saying, a director stretching his wings and going outside of what he's normally known for, because this is really a kind of a political drama. It's about the United States occupation of Haiti, the dictatorship in Haiti, and the special police force, and this drug that essentially has been kind of used by the gangs and its special powers. It's a choppy movie. There's a narration that kind of jumps time.
The last act goes full Elm Street again.
Yes. But I do feel like what this movie does well is it builds. As it goes on, it gets a little more weird, a little more crazy, and they start up these like small practical effects. And of course, there's the bride that opens at her mouth, and the snake comes and grabs Pullman.
Yeah. Good score too.
Great score. There's a wild sex scene. It's just it's a very kind of like low key type of movie. Like, it's not horror. I mean, it is horror, but it's not in terms of, if somebody rents Elm Street, I would almost be like, hey, unless you like movies, don't rent this. Like, you don't go from Elm Street to Serpent and the Rainbow and expect the same thing. They nailed Bill Pullman's scrotum at one point as a torture signal.
Well, man's got to relax.
I'm thinking of, it's been so long since I saw this. I was like, shit, I wonder if they took the Casino Royale scene from this, because it's the same thing, naked, tied in a chair. I mean, maybe not. If anybody's watching that hasn't seen The Serpent and the Rainbow, I completely recommend it.
Yeah,
I've kept it vague enough where it's voodoo, it's Haiti, it's Bill Pullman. That alone, plus Wes Craven, should sell it. So
it's the kind of movie that you forget about, because it's a solid film, but for some reason it's easy to forget about it. And like, now you brought it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I love that movie. I do, because it's the tone, Craven's style, visual style is very grounded for the first like 2 acts. It's engaging from beginning to end, and it has like a lot, like you said, the scrotum scene. The next Wes Craven film that for me really pops, it's one I like to revisit a lot. And again, it's another one of those that I don't think it's a great film, and it's not everything it should have been, but there's something about it and especially, you've seen Shocker, right? Because I'm talking about Shocker.
I've not. I've heard of it. I've seen the cover. Hold on. Hey, well, this is live. Here's how it was. I rented
Dude.
You fuckhead.
You haven't seen Deadly Friend. You haven't seen Shock. That's embarrassing, man.
It's kind of
people's time. You waste my time.
I am not fucking with you.
Shocker, I will give you Deadly Friend. I don't even recognize the fucking VHS cover. I spent half my life at the video store, so I'm going to fight you on that. Shocker, here's the deal. I rented it as a kid from Family Video, and the VHS didn't work, and I was just like, well, I'm done. I'm fucking walking away. I'm walking away because I gave my money. Back in the day, I'm like, what, 12 or 10? What am I going to do? Like, ask for a refund? No, I turned it, and I went home.
Shocker was actually Wes Craven. When he did the first Nightmare on Elm Street, he made a big boo-boo. He sold the sequel rights, meaning that when part 1 popped and made a lot of money, and then part 2 popped, and then part 3 really popped, and then part 4 really, really popped, he made no money off it. So Shocker was his way to start over again and create another iconic horror character. This time he's going to retain the sequel rights. So he really went down the Freddy Krueger checklist, really. So you have a supernatural killer. In Elm Street, he kills you in your dreams. In Shocker, he kills you through, like anything electronic, he could travel through it. Freddy had the green and red sweater, an iconic look. Oren Spinker, which is the name of the killer in Shocker, has an orange prison jumpsuit. You remember in Nightmare on Elm Street how it starts? It's Freddy building his glove.
Yeah.
And in Shocker, they have a similar scene, him like fixing a TV or banging the TV. I don't remember it. I'm not going to talk out of my ass. They put him in an electric chair, but his spirit is able to use anything electric as a conduit. The first 15, 20 minutes or so of Shocker is dark. It's oppressive. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street 84 to some degree, like when the cops, you haven't seen the movie, but they go in the house, they're looking for him, there's dead bodies, TVs that are lit up. It's really like, oh yeah, man, this is going to be a mean movie. And that's what it should have been. And Aura Spinker was scary. But the second he gets whacked and comes back, Craven goes with what was making money at the time, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, 4. So he becomes wisecracker, not scary anymore. He's funny. He body hops. Actually, one of my favorite scenes in Shocker, he body hops into a little girl. And now she's him, you know, and she starts swearing and cussing and drives like a construction truck trying to whack somebody, whatever. So the entire movie as a whole starts off one way and then it goes into like really completely out there vibe filled with heavy metal from like Megadeth. Paul Stanley sings the theme song, Shaka, Shaka.
They had all the bases covered. Yeah.
So then it becomes a rock and roll movie, man. Just crazy kills, crazy dream sequences, cheesy dialogue, lots of like hilarious humor. Elm Street had the phone tongue thing, gag. And this one, there's a lazy boy chair that comes to life and grabs the hero. So it completely goes batshit bonkers. And it took me a while to fully appreciate what Craven did with that. Because I was disappointed it didn't go Elm Street 84 from beginning to end. It went Elm Street 2, 3, and even more so 4, which is, you know, MTV Freddy.
1989. No, I was just saying 1989 is when it came out. So it makes complete sense. That's like the fever dream of Freddy fandom at the time. So,
yeah, exactly. So it's full on out there. Unfortunately, Shocker tanked. It didn't make money, so he had the sequel rights, but there was no sequels. But it's a really fun movie. Sometimes for the right reasons, sometimes for the wrong reasons. You like 90s.
I like bad shit, so I'm sure I love it.
You're gonna love Shocker, dude. You're gonna thank me, man. You're gonna thank me, you know, with a pat on the ass, you know?
Is that how we do it, huh?
Yeah, so check out Shocker. I'm trying to see if I just want to say, before I move on from Shocker, there is I mean, it's silly, it's ridiculous, but the finale takes place with Horace Pinker and the hero played by Peter Berg, who became a very well-known director, great guy, by the way, who directed Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, have a final battle going through different TV shows that they wind up in.
That's kind of cool.
They're able to enter TVs and wind up in the show that's playing on TV. And if I remember correctly, I think Peter Berg has a remote control, or they fight for the remote. So they change a channel and they wind up in different TV show, beating the shit out of each other. So it's very, it's out there, man. You know, God bless Shocker. I love Shocker, man. It's fun.
This is a little more well-known, but I still think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough in terms of just normal conversation. It is The People Under the Stairs.
I thought you were going to say Music of the Heart.
You know, in the last video, I said Mr. Holland's Opus, and I meant Music of the Heart. I don't know, People Under the Stairs has always been one of my favorite VHS covers. There's the skull, and it has
with the house
in the bottom. We watched it maybe a month or two ago. Still holds up very well. The weirdness that I remember as a kid is actually extra weird now. Everett McGill.
Yeah.
Which Everett McGill, which I will always remember him as Big Ed on Twin Peaks.
Yeah, me too. And funnily enough, the lady that plays his sister, right? That's his sister.
The redhead.
Yeah.
His wife on Twin Peaks, where he ends up with Norma at the end of the revival.
Yeah, he cheats on her. Yeah, and she winds up with an eye patch. And...
Yeah.
Crazy
stuff. His whole Gimbal outfit is so weird. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't...
He's got creepy. The shotgun, you know, the Gimp outfit, ready to rock, bro.
It's so creepy as a kid, and then as an adult, I'm like, this is so fucking weird. What's the angle, Wes Craven? Stepping back, I think what I like about this movie is that it's such a weird, bizarre tale about poor and it's political and landlords and stuff like that. I know that's sprinkled in, but like we just
it is a social commentary.
Social commentary, but like it doesn't lead the film, or maybe it does lead the film, but I guess there's something about the 80s and the 90s where it's still
more subtle.
Yeah, if you took it away, it would still be a crazy cat and mouse game with the little kid. Let me read his name. I feel so bad. I'm so bad at names here. Fool, and Ving Rhames is like, in the beginning, and he's trying to survive the whole house. One of the weirder movies I've seen by him. I think it should get a watch. There's a lot of choices here that are made that kind of make it something strange, like the people in the under the stairs, or the basement, and the walls that they look like monsters at times. They're all deformed, And it's such an odd take.
You're gonna have to cut that off. Pause that shit, dude.
One of Craven's best in terms of not a scary movie, but a good thriller that would still be under the horror umbrella, that has a lot of political commentary. And I think there's a lot more to it than I would say his earlier work. So
I agree.
You mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. I want to mention New Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing about New Nightmare. It had a really well-rounded reception in terms of the horror community. And this is what kind of gets me sometimes, is I realize as I'm getting older that the horror community that I grew up with is no longer the horror community. Because I see a lot of comments or a lot of posts about how New Nightmare isn't as good.
Really?
What the fuck are we talking about? I know, but
they like Final Nightmare better? I mean,
I don't know. The reason I'm bringing New Nightmare up is because I wonder if a younger generation doesn't like it as much. New Nightmare was Scream before it was Scream. Freddy's Dead, which I do like in a very, it's so dumb it's good kind of way. I'll admit that. I like a lot of shit movies just for the sake that I find them fun. But New Nightmare brought Freddy Krueger back, and I will say this right now. I find it to be the creepiest representation of Freddy Krueger since the original, maybe more than the original. He talks very little, if not at all, in this movie. I think his burn scars, it sort of encompasses his entire eye socket. He has this creepy, dirty green hat, almost like Oscar the Grouch. I actually read something that Wes Craven went back and forth between the look on Freddy about being old school or about changing it for this new movie, and that he regrets that he changed it. He should look different. He doesn't have a glove. He has the blades growing out of his actual skin. Yeah.
Because he's the real Freddy. All the other Freddys were the movie Freddys.
This is the demon.
He's the real Freddy.
Heather Langenkamp, I guess, was having a stalker at the time this movie was made, and that they incorporated in the movie and all this like real shit. I still think it's one of the creepier movies. It has Rex, or the little dinosaur thing, as the kid's protector. A lot of this to me is Wes Craven kind of going back and showing that he could do it if he wanted to. I look at this as like a pissing contest. Like, oh, you think it can't be scary? You think I can't take the fucking thing you made a joke and make it better?
Personally, I found Freddy Krueger incredibly scary in part 2. With that said, post Part 3. Part 5 tried to make him scary again, while trying to have their cake and eat it too by, having Super Freddy and the video game Freddy. But still, the way they shot him, they tried to retain like a darkness about it. And then the Final Nightmare came. And I'll always remember, I was in the, 3D glasses, although it was only for the last act, but I was in the theaters. And the first time you see Freddy, while the house is tumbling down, he shows up on a fucking broomstick.
Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch. He's a Wicked
and
Witch.
he says some shit like, it's from a Wizard of Oz quote, right? And your little soul too. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Really? You're going that way with it? So they went full Bugs Bunny with it. So by the time Wes Craven's New Nightmare came out, the first hour of that film, genius, pure genius. The last act kind of loses me a little bit, like bad matte paintings, a little cheesier. But the first 2 acts, solid. That scene where I think the friend, the blonde chick, I forgot her name, and Freddy just rises up behind.
He's it's another one, the ceiling. Yeah.
That's it. They reprised the Tina kill. It's so strong, and that's just that scene alone is better than half the horror movies I've seen in the last 10 years.
Well, I guess that leads us to recommendations. So I know normally we kind of go something close to the subject matter, but honestly, Wes Craven has enough of it of filmography. Yeah. Let's stick to Wes Craven. What are you recommending in his filmography we haven't talked about?
Red Eye.
Mine too. Jack Rippner,
credit card, license. But for some reason, Miss Stewardess, this emotionally unstable, rather inebriated girl whom I've never met before tonight suddenly went crazy when I took it out of my pocket. You tell the flight attendant and your dad dies.
With
Okay.
Cillian or Killian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, yes.
AKA who should be the next Bond, in my opinion, because he's still young.
I agree.
Look.
Those steely eyes.
Yeah, oh yeah, he'll, you know, yeah.
Okay.
Red Eye is like and you like the 90s a lot, so it's like a 90s thriller.
I do.
Great setup, great middle section. Last act is a bit the weakest of the 3 acts, but overall it's a very satisfying experience. It's Wes really going full-on thriller, and I recommend it. It's better than most films that come out today. That's for
it says Rachel McAdams. I forgot that she was in it.
The female lead, yeah.
Okay.
You know, if they'd have fallen into the hands of a by-the-book stewardess, she'd have gone straight to the cockpit and we'd landed somewhere else. If that happens, Lise, our guy in BMW's gonna know about it. So do Dad a favor and stop gambling with his life.
Fair enough.
What about you?
Okay, I'm gonna go a little more old school. This is something I used to watch with my dad a lot. Swamp Thing.
What is it?
It's over.
Cheesy as shit. It has the girl from Creep Show. Hold on, let me find out her name. Because I'm bad at this. Yeah, with the
Gazongas. Yeah.
But she's
Packing Heat. Yeah.
She's a great actress, and it's not about that.
Fog.
Yes.
She's in the Fog, right?
She was the narrator, the radio host. I actually like Swamp Thing 1 and 2, but Swamp Thing 1 is a kind of that cheesy comic book classic. That's how I describe it. Cheesy as shit. It is one of those films that I'm not saying is great. It's not serious. It's kind of dumb, but it's a great, dumb, fun movie. And I think schlocky mess
Is, let us say, genius. Then this genius shall be monumental in body.
that Wes Craven directs the hell out of it. It flows, it has a good pace. And one of my 80s classics. So
you know what? I just want to end off on this. Doing this show with you is making me sad a little bit because Wes Craven has passed. As far back as I've loved horror movies, Wes Craven has pretty much been part of it the whole time. You know, like I said, my first movie was Evil Dead. My second one was Nightmare on Elm Street. So 1984, Wes Craven became a name that I followed. I went to see the movies that were allowed to see in the cinema. I went to see all his movies in the cinema, minus Music of the Heart. And I'm feeling kind of sad that he's gone now. I'm bummed, dude. So I just want to say, you know what? Let's guys, if you guys are having a drink right now, as you should, by the way, let's make a toast right now to the great Wes Craven. Your legacy, sir, lives on.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven. Ironic. I'm done.
All right, so John, that means next week it leaves us for a next episode. What are we doing?
I'm not telling you.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not telling you. It's a fucking surprise.
I mean, okay, fair enough, but I work here, right? So no matter what, I gotta fucking watch the movies, buddy. I mean, I gotta reconnect.
Well, you didn't watch Deadly Friend or Shocker, so fuck you, dude.
Shocker had a bad VHS tape. I was very clear on that. And a Deadly Friend, I don't remember the fucking cover. I don't remember the cover.
You know what? I don't know what we're gonna do in 2 weeks. So
all right, well, John,
empty. Your glass is empty.
It's always a pleasure, my friend. I have a little bit left, so I'm gonna drink it now. All right. Well, thank you so much, Wes Craven. It's always been fun.
You know, if I have to do the rest of my films in the genre, no problem. If I'm going to be a cage bird, I'll sing the best song I can.
If people think you do something well, that's a terrific compliment.
No, it is. It is. And I can see that I give my audiences something. I can see it in their eyes, and they say thank you a lot. So you realize you're doing something that means something to people. So shut up and get back to work.
I'm going to thank you for it.
Okay.
Thanks, Wes.